This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
The opinions expressed in the following programs are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of Rogers Cable or Rogers TV.
Welcome to Uxbridge Scugog Life. I'm your host, Jackie Hermans. Now, I want to start off the show by doing a big congratulations to Freddie Freeman of the Los Angeles Dodgers for winning the World Series, because he has ties to the city of Oshawa. So congratulations, whoop whoop. All right, so I pulled a card from my Goddess Guidance Oracle deck. I'm going to put that over there. I'm going to show you what the card is. I'm going to bring it into this camera over here. We're going to try to zoom in. So it is Goddess Maeve. And Goddess Maeve helps us, reminds us to really listen to our own cycles and rhythms. You know, some days you just feel exhausted. And other days, you're like, I got lots of energy. You might not even be able to fall asleep very well because you're just busting with energy. So really honor that with yourself this week. On those days that you feel tired, hey, if you can squeeze in a nap, if you can get to bed early, maybe you'll have to put something off until the next day until you can regain that energy. And trust that it's okay. If we're not feeling very energetic today, maybe the next day or the next day after is when you're going to pick up and be back into that rhythm. So just like we have different cycles of the moon, we have different cycles, right? So up on the show, we are going to be talking to representatives from the Scugog Legion about Remembrance Day. And something I want you to get in your calendar is on November the 10th. There is a really important hockey game where they'll be doing some beautiful fundraising for the Legion. So you can contact the Scugog Legion to find out more about that. We're also going to be talking to Chief Matthews of Scugog Fire about Carbon Monoxide Awareness Week. And CMHA, Alec King, is going to be on the show. And we're going to be talking about mental health, Men's Mental Health Awareness Month for November, also known as Movember. So if you haven't started growing that stash, time to grow that stash. All right, so we'll be back with more on Uxbridge Scugog Life. Stick around.
Public transit, garbage pickup, parks and recreation programs, snow removal on your street. How can you stay informed about these and other important local services? Tune to City Council coverage on Rogers TV. See your community leaders at work on Rogers TV City Council coverage.
Welcome back to Uxbridge Scugog Life. So with me on the show, I have Linda and Mark, and we're going to be talking about Remembrance Day, and in particular, what the Scugog Legion, how, I guess, the different opportunities that are available to remember. And Mark, you'll be talking about the importance of Remembrance Day. Why are we taking this moment to, you know what, Linda had mentioned something prior to us starting, that sometimes you get comments such as, aren't all the veterans dead? But no. So Mark, do you want to talk about that?
No, so there's many veterans. There's veterans serving today with us, with the Canadian Armed Forces and other forces in other countries as well. Mm-hmm. There's lots of veterans that have served and that are from age 30 to whatever age. Most recently served in the conflicts around the world. So veterans veterans are alive and well.
Right.
should say. But we need to remember the sacrifice that our veterans that are no longer with us did for this country and for our livelihood, and the ones that are just recently served and the ones that are current serving.
Yeah, thank you. And when you think about Remembrance Day, what type of impact does it have for you? Why is it important specifically for you?
Well, one point is my dad served in Italy and was wounded in Italy in 1942. His birthday is actually November 11th, 1918.
Wow.
Which is kind of
really adds to the
neat.
significance, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. So, as a kid growing up, I saw a lot of veterans that served, and my dad was president of the Legion for several years, so I got to see a lot of those old bills, as they used to be called. That's what the veterans used to be called, old bills, and I got to see a lot of them, and very few of them would ever really talk about their story. Like it's, PTSD was not a term then for them, and they just had to deal with their grief and emotions, I guess, that they experienced.
Was it your dad that inspired you to serve as well?
No, I'd have to say no. It's I joined cadets as a youth, as a young boy, and kind of went on its route. I went on my route that way, and it was for me. It wasn't for my brother, but that's followed that path. But
okay. Now, Linda, what are the different opportunities that the Scugog Legion have for the community to remember?
Well, we have a lot of services on November the 11th.
Okay.
So we have a service at the library at 10 o'clock, and that starts the day. We then parade to the cenotaph at the Scugog Township offices for the service, which starts about 10:45 through to 11 o'clock. We then go to the Legion in Port Perry for a service there. Then after that, when the Scugog Legion opens for an open house for the community, we have services at all 3 of the nursing homes. So specifically for those in Port Perry, and simultaneous to the service that's happening at the township offices, there is a service at Blackstock. So there's a lot going on November the 11th. But leading up to that, we launched the campaign on October the 25th, and it's an 18-day campaign. And it started with the banners being placed by the Township of Scugog. And there's a booklet here that references the members whose banners are hanging in the town. And that booklet is available at the Port Perry Legion. We have about 24 people who went out, volunteers from our Legion and the community, to put poppy boxes in every single storefront. And then we have about 50 people this year who are helping to go out and canvass at the big box stores, bringing in funds. We also have wreath sponsorship, and so we have dozens of wreaths that are placed at various services that happen on November the 11th. And those are placed in memory of family members, even pets, and those are placed for people to remember, and then we bring them inside for a display the week after Remembrance Day. And at that time, we also show off our youth education poster submissions. So we do a lot of education in the community as well.
Nice. So if there's individuals out there that are still interested in sponsoring a wreath, how should they get a hold of you? What's the best process?
Okay, so any questions at all, the Legion's open from 10 until 10 through the campaign, so people can stop in anytime and enjoy our poppy shop as well, because we have a lot of different paraphernalia.
I love your sweatshirt.
And
it is a beautiful sweatshirt.
A lot of things that people can participate in to help raise funds. They can phone the Legion, and we can answer all of their questions that way.
Okay, beautiful. Now, what time did you say the Legion is opening up to the community?
So the Legion opens at 10 in the morning throughout the campaign right up until November the 11th, and we're open until close every day.
Okay, lovely. What is the most favorite part of what the Legion provides for you? What's the most, I guess, heart-filled in your experience?
Well, I think for me it is the excitement of so many people wanting to share and not expecting anything back personally, but just wanting to give. And the interface that they have with people in the community and the stories that they can tell to other people about family members who have served, or hearing stories of other people who have had family members who have served, and the reason why people find this just a very warm time to participate.
I love it. And in particular, Mark, I really like how you shared at the beginning that this is a time for us to have in our hearts gratitude for those who previously served and those who are currently serving and those who will be serving in the future, helping us to feel safe in our community, safe within the world. And I thank you both for coming on today and for all that you do.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more on Uxbridge Scugog Life. Stick around.
Knights of Columbus TV Bingo this week will be at 6 p.m. Not our usual 7, will be at 6 p.m. this Tuesday, right here on Rogers TV for your chance to win up to $5,000.
This is Rogers TV.
Welcome back to Uxbridge Scugog Life. So I have Chief Matthews of Scugog Fire, and we're talking about Carbon Monoxide Awareness Week. So what are the dates of Carbon Monoxide Awareness Week?
Well, Carbon Monoxide Awareness Week runs from November 1st to November 7th in Ontario.
Okay.
And it's crucial that we have this week because carbon monoxide is the leading cause of accidental poisoning deaths in North America. And many incidents can be prevented with awareness, proper detection, and maintenance.
Okay, so what is carbon monoxide in the first place?
Carbon monoxide is an odorless, colorless, and tasteless gas that can be fatal if inhaled. It's often called the silent killer because it's undetectable without a carbon monoxide alarm. And common sources include furnaces, fireplaces, gas stoves, your water heater, and even car exhaust.
So you need to have a carbon monoxide detector. Where should they be located within your home?
So you should try and have a carbon monoxide detector, or carbon monoxide alarm, sorry.
Okay.
Should be installed outside of the sleeping areas on each level of the home.
Okay. Does it make sense to also have one right in your basement, like near your furnace?
Yes, it does.
Yeah?
In any of the areas where you do have any of those appliances I talked about earlier.
Okay. So having it near your gas stove, having it near your furnace, and then on every level that you have bedrooms.
That's correct. It's
Okay.
actually a law in Ontario that you have to have one
Okay.
in those areas that we talked about.
Okay, that's really good. And so what does carbon monoxide poisoning look like? What could be some signs and symptoms of that?
So some of the early signs and symptoms are a headache, nausea, dizziness, confusion and fatigue, and a lot of times it's often mistaken for the flu. So prolonged exposure, though, can lead to loss of consciousness, and even more severe, could lead to brain damage, or in some cases it could be fatal and could lead to someone's death.
Okay, so in addition to the carbon monoxide alarms, what else can we do to prevent carbon monoxide leaks?
So what you should do is you should, if your CO alarm activates, you should leave the home immediately, call 911 from a safe location, and don't re-enter until a first responder comes to check your home.
Okay, so get out as soon as you can.
Correct.
Now, how often should you be checking your furnace?
So regular maintenance for all of those should be done at least yearly, and you should get somebody that's qualified to come in and actually service that to make sure it's functioning properly.
So should you also, if you have a gas stove, should you be getting someone to check your gas stove?
Any of your gas appliances. So if you have a fireplace, if you have a gas water heater, if you have a gas stove, I would even recommend that you have a hookup for anything that is fueled by natural gas. You have it inspected to make sure that it's still functioning properly.
Can your provider of your natural gas send someone to your house to check all your appliances at once?
You could reach out to them, or you could also just look for a local service technician in your area that's qualified to work on those appliances.
Okay. So tell me a little bit more about this campaign and the core messages that you're wanting to get out to the community.
So really it's how to protect your family. So what we're looking for is you to install some carbon monoxide alarms in your home, as we discussed.
Yeah.
What we also would like you to do is test your alarms regularly. So if you could check the batteries and test the alarms once a month, and then replace the alarms every 5 to 10 years, depending on the manufacturer's recommendations, but also regular maintenance. So as we discussed, service your appliances, and never use a barbecue, a generator, or a gas appliance indoors or in an enclosed space.
Okay. Yeah, I work at the outdoor markets. And
Yes.
so as a vendor that doesn't like being cold, I was even considering getting like a propane type of heater. But you also need to be cognizant of what you're containing, let's say, inside your tent if you have walls going on.
That's correct, absolutely. So as long as it's well ventilated
Yeah.
and you're outdoors, something like a propane heater that you were talking about is completely fine to use. But if you're enclosing that tent and now it's an enclosed space where you don't have proper ventilation, it's not recommended that you use it.
Okay, but if you have a front-facing open tent in just the 3 walls, that it could still be safe?
As long as it's well ventilated, and you have to also remember too that those are a heating appliance, so you want to make sure there's proper distance from anything that would be combustible. So you have to be fire safe, and you also have to be carbon monoxide aware.
So always have a fire extinguisher ready anytime you're using any type of heating up appliance, we'll say.
Exactly, but not only just having the fire extinguisher, but also knowing how to properly use a fire extinguisher.
Okay.
Remembering at the end of the day, it's only with your comfort level.
Okay.
And if you're not sure, it's better just to leave the area, call 911, and have your local fire department respond.
Okay, so what is the call to action? Let's summarize everything.
So at the end of the day, take action right now today. So check your CO alarms, talk to your family, and share the message with others. Visit your local fire department's website or go to the Ontario Ministry of Community Safety and Correctional Services for more information and resources.
Okay. And you know, I just want to say this right now too, because it just popped into my head. I rented an apartment, and in my very first couple of nights of being in the apartment, I was smelling rotten eggs. And so I called my landlord right away because I had a leak in my stove. So even if it's not, you know, your own personal home, you got to get your landlord's call to action and make sure that they are servicing your appliances.
Exactly, but the important thing to remember too, whether you're the homeowner or you're renting, is that rotten egg smell is an additive that's put into the natural gas so that you can detect the smell.
Yeah.
If you smell that, again, the same procedures should be taken. Leave the area immediately, call 911, and don't re-enter until a first responder, the fire department, responds to check and make sure it's safe.
Beautiful.
But you were right. As soon as you're done, you need to get a hold of your landlord and have that immediately checked by a certified service technician.
Thank you very much. Thanks for
welcome.
being on the show. We will be back with more on Uxbridge Scugog Life. Stick around.
Every year, dozens of Canadians are killed or seriously injured because they take risks around railway tracks. Talk to your loved ones about rail safety. Visit stoptracktragedies.ca.
This is Rogers TV.
Welcome back to Uxbridge Scugog Life. I have Alec King from CMHA. It's so great to have you back on the show.
It's great to be back. Thank you for having me.
Well, you just had the Sapphire Gala last week. And so, first of all, because not everyone would have seen our last episode. Why don't you tell us about the Sapphire Gala, what it was? And
So CMHA Durham this year is celebrating our 65th anniversary, and part of that celebration was having our first ever fundraising gala called the Sapphire Gala. It was a wonderful night. We had some wonderful speakers. We had individuals who were talking about their mental health and recovery journey kind of come out and talk with everyone. There was dancing and entertainment. We had Mayor Kevin Ash as our keynote speaker. It was a wonderful night.
amazing. So, will you be doing it again next year?
I hope so. We'll have to see where that goes, and we'd love to see more people out there coming out to it and get more people to kind of come. And if anyone's interested in donating or supporting the next year's gala or CMHA Durham in general, they can just go to our website where all the information is.
Okay, beautiful. So you are accepting donations throughout the year.
Throughout the year. We're more than happy,
Yeah.
and we appreciate all of our donors who made the event possible and all of our donors every day who make the services we provide to our community possible.
Amazing. So now that we're in the month of November, I understand that November is Men's Mental Health Awareness.
That's right. It's
Yeah.
a big month. I think a lot of people think of Movember, where men kind of shave their faces and then grow their mustaches. And it's done a tremendous thing for kind of like putting that into people's minds and thinking about it. But it's really important to realize that there's a reason why talking about men's mental health in November is so important. There's still a whole lot of stigma around mental health in general for everyone, but especially for men. And we want to encourage men to reach out and talk about it and get support.
And so why do you think that stigma is still there? Is it basically men are still dealing with you're not supposed to show emotion because that makes you weak.
Yep. Yeah,
Which is total distortion.
but it's still out there, and it's still kind of that seen impression, the idea of being tough and macho and not showing your feelings, that kind of stuff is still kind of ingrained. We've seen some really great progress. There have been a lot of athletes and actors. Ryan Reynolds came out and talked about his issues with anxiety and depression, and just other people who have been open and talking about it. And it's wonderful to see, but that doesn't mean that it's not hard for everyone every day to talk about their mental health. So we're encouraging people to talk about it, to get open.
Good.
Yeah.
So what type of opportunities are you going to have during the month of November for men to talk about their emotions, talk about what they're going through?
Well, we're working with an organization called Buddy Up, and that talks a lot about discussing mental health and things that men can do around mental health. And one of the things they talk about is they have an anagram, I guess, called ALEC, A-L-E-C. And that's, yeah.
How
And
did that one come to be?
Not mine, but, and it talks about how you can talk about mental health with someone you love. So A is ask. So ask how someone's doing. Really like open that question, because that can be hard. If you see someone suffering, sometimes you just want to let it skate by, but actually opening up and talking about it. And then there's listen, which is actually actively listening to someone. Sometimes we want to move on to the end of the statement. We want to get them over it, and we want to help and have everything fixed and resolved right away, but it's listening and paying attention.
Before you go on to
Yeah.
the E, I just want to say the listening part is so important because like as I find as I voice stuff, you hear yourself talk and it assists with the whole processing of what you're going through. And being an empath, even the vibration of the words is part of the healing process. Okay, so E.
No,
what is it?
I agree. I agree totally, getting people to kind of get that out, right?
Yeah.
And the more people talk, the more they feel like they can talk as well. So
Yes.
listening and let them know that you're receptive to it.
You're safe. You're creating that safe
Exactly.
space
Yes. Yeah.
for them to voice.
Yeah, and that does kind of tie into E as well, which is encourage.
Okay.
And you're encouraging people to make that next step in terms of making something that kind of like encourages them to get progress, to move forward. And part of that is actually listening to what they're saying to know what the steps they want to take is. Because it's really easy to listen to someone and then go, you should do this, but that doesn't help as much.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think what I want to add to that too is when you're listening from that non-judgmental space.
Good point, yeah.
Because whatever you're feeling on the inside, you know, some people could go, oh, but you don't need to feel that way.
Yes.
But no, I am feeling, this is just where I'm at. Does it mean that it's right or wrong? It's just what I'm feeling right now. It doesn't mean that it's not an accurate reality. This is the reality of where I'm at.
Yeah.
So the non-judgment is so important.
And people mean well, but it's invalidating, and it makes people feel bad when you kind of like say, like you said, like, you know, oh, don't worry about that, or don't feel that.
You don't need to feel that way.
Yeah. But when you're listening, you wait, because people oftentimes kind of hint at what they are willing to do or what changes they want to make. And so when they kind of suggest that, like maybe someone says, oh, I guess I should be talking to someone, or I should, you know, do more of this, or do more self-care activities, or things like that. Encourage, kind of seize on that and say, that's a great idea. Because when someone hears someone else say that, they feel validated by that, and they feel like that is something they should act upon. And then the last letter is C, which is checkup. So check in with the person later and see how their progress on that step is going, and then start again. Ask how they're feeling, listen to how they're feeling, and encourage them to keep working, keep trying to get better.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so great. And that checkup part, it's like we will go through these various cycles of realization. So like when we go in deep, when we voice stuff, we start processing all of that, and then we'll go through new levels. We'll have, you know, maybe a month from now, or a week, or another day from now, we'll have a new level of emotion coming up, getting ready to process and to work through.
Recovery is a journey, and you'll find that as people go forward on that journey, there's more things they want to talk about. They might be even more open to kind of discussing what's going on, and at the same time talking about how well it's gone for them and how they're feeling like they've improved or grown and how they feel better. And that can be a really positive experience for both of you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. It's always so great having you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
So make sure that you find someone safe that you can talk to, whether it's a friend, a family member, or maybe it's reaching out to CMHA and finding out what other resources that they have that you can connect with. Thank you so much to all the guests that have been on the show today. Definitely look into what Remembrance Day services are going on within your community that you can participate in. And also thank you so much to Chief Matthews. Make sure you get those batteries of those carbon monoxide detectors working, or you get a new carbon monoxide detector. Keep you and your family safe. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next week with more on Uxbridge Scugog Life.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.